So we've done the sections. Contained within the sections, we're going to have to actually define the layout of those sections. So what this primarily will involve is selecting a number of columns from 1 to 4 columns. If you do select those 1 to 4 column options, they will provide you equal width columns which span the entire section that you've added. Another option that you have available is 2-column image and content. So this is quite simply where the section is split into 2 columns. You've got a fully defined image on one side, and you can put whatever content you want in the other. You can generate the same things just using a 2-column layout. It's aimed at just saving you a little bit of time, being a bit more intuitive. And the third option you've got on there is something called featured tiles. So quite similar to the ones I showed you before, this allows you to specify individual tiles or individual buttons, things that really draw the attentions of your viewers to actually link to certain parts of your site. And again, I'll show those in a moment. What we've also got in there is custom columns. So this is probably, I've actually been speaking to our front end team about this, and they say that custom columns is one of the things they use the most when they're generating layouts using content templates. So this gives the ability for administrators to actually define the width of the different columns that they add to that particular section. Facilitates the creation of columns of different widths. For example, if we have a 33% column and a 66% column, it knows that they're going to be sat side by side because they fit within that same row. And then as with the other columns, multiple content can be placed within those columns as well. If the next column you add, so let's say, for example, we've got our 33% or 66%, if the next custom column we add doesn't fit on the same line, it knows this and it automatically places it on the next line down. So it's quite easy to format this whole thing. You can see there my setup of a 33, 66, 20, 20, 60. That's what I've got as a result. So just to give some context as to how those different layout configurations would look on our actual storefront. Again, I'm going to jump to the page I created for you guys. We've got single column layout, 2-column. Again, you can put multiple bits of content in those columns. It doesn't just have to be one thing. 3-column, 4-column, 2-column image and content, and then our custom columns. Right, so let's take a look at this in one of our sections that we've been creating. So if I expand the actual section, you can see what it's awaiting next is the actual layout specification. So it needs to know how it's going to arrange this data. So we go to add content. You can see it's giving us the selection between those different options that we've just been talking about. As I've been talking about them and bigging them up so much, let's go for a custom column. Now, in order to utilize the custom column, we need to specify how wide that custom column is. That's one of those options that's going to be on its configuration settings. So just remember, click the gear to get to those configuration settings. And we can specify what width that column is going to be. I'm then going to add a second custom column. I can either leave that as auto width, where it should just fill in the rest of the line, or I can specifically define how wide I want that to be. And that's it. So if we were defining one of the other options, so let's say a specific 2-column option, that displays in a very slightly different way, where it's all contained within one of these building blocks, but then you've got a separate section for what you want in each of those columns.